I don't see that there's anything inherently wrong with eating geese and ducks. It's just when you're taking them from the local pond and local parks, in places that people consider the general wildlife that make, going to the park a nice place to go visit. There's just something about adhering to one's culture that you're in. When in Rome, do as the Romans do, right? So I think that's really the big issue here. I don't think people are opposed to eating ducks and geese. That's something that's very common. I mean, we even have one of our favorite all-time Christmas movies in our American culture, where they go to a Chinese restaurant and eat a duck. Eating ducks and geese is not that big of a deal, but when you start eating people's pets and the wildlife that our culture considers wildlife at the local park, people are just not going to stand for that. Now, we have this issue. It used to be I did videos on backyard chickens, and I've done a lot of those videos. And there has been an absolute shift in local politics since I started doing these videos. Whereas most of the videos that I did back when I started doing those videos on backyard chickens, most of these planning commissions and city councils and all these municipalities were very much against this and either trying to take that right away or prevent it from getting started and trying to prevent it adamantly. There has been a shift. There have been, every so often I go on Google and I just search for backyard chickens and I go to the news tab and I search for latest, like in the last month, to see what headlines have come up. And as I'm looking through these headlines, the shift is apparent. These commissions are approving a lot of places to have backyard chickens. And now there's still some people who are not okay with this. And they use the regular things we've been hearing about all along. Oh, they might be a nuisance. Oh, they might cause disease. Things like that. They may cause health problems. But these are one after the other being shot down. Let's take a look at some of the headlines. Now, I couldn't open this link up because it's behind a paywall, but new Arizona laws support tamales and backyard chickens. What to know? It says from backyard chickens to Pluto, becoming Arizona's official state planet. Here are new laws that take effect soon. And don't forget the tamale. So I didn't think Pluto was a planet anymore, but apparently in Arizona, it's now the official state planet. And they are starting to allow backyard chickens according to Arizona law. I didn't get to read the details on it again because it's behind a paywall. Moving over to Minnesota, St. Cloud Planning Commission will explore allowing backyard chickens. A public hearing to discuss chickens in urban zoning districts will be held at the St. Cloud Planning Commission's October meeting. Could St. Cloud be the next Minnesota city to allow backyard chickens? The city has mulled allowing chickens even as recently as last year, but that hasn't come to fruition due to the potential for public health and nuisance conditions. Yes, again, it's a health issue. We've got to watch out for that health issue. We're talking about the most numerous bird on planet Earth. And my goodness, this might pose a health issue for our fair city if we allow people to keep them. If we allow people to keep the most numerous bird on planet Earth. And they might become a nuisance all of a sudden. The most numerous bird on planet Earth might all of a sudden become a nuisance if people are allowed to keep them in their backyards. The St. Cloud Planning Commission discussed the possibility of chickens in urban zones at its Tuesday, September 10th meeting. That was just a few days ago. A number of St. Cloud residents wrote in favor of backyard chickens in advance of the September 10th discussion. Resident Kara Rhodes cited sustainability, self-sufficiency, educational value, environmental benefits, and community well-being in her support of allowing chickens within the city. And listen, this is all what it comes down to. A couple years ago, we all saw the price of eggs. And while they have come down a little bit, they're nowhere near the price of what they once were. Eggs used to be very, very cheap. And people said, well, this is an expense. I could actually, cut that expense by raising, 2 or 3 chickens in my backyard, maybe 5. Or maybe even a few meat birds along with that. And to be able to cut down on my food bill. And that's what this one here says here. Resident Dan Geiske advocated for chickens for reduced grocery costs, free fertilizer and weed control, natural pest control, community engagement, and more. Because chickens will eat anything that moves. They'll eat mice. So some of them will even chase down rats. They will eat any insect. If chickens are patrolling around your home, you will have a lot less spiders come fall and winter getting into your home because they will be mowing down anything that moves. So they're good for all those reasons. And this is why people throughout the millennia, that's thousands of years for you people who don't know what that means, thousands of years have kept chickens. And that's why they're the most numerous bird on planet Earth. Moving over to Philadelphia, Great Expectations Middletown petitioners seek change to raise backyard chickens. This could be the year the chickens come home to roost in Middletown. A Change.org petition seeks a switch in the township's ban on raising chickens in residential areas. We are looking for support to change the ordinance in Middletown to allow self-sustainability, food independence in raising backyard chickens. The petition states backyard chickens are on the rise, up from 8% of Americans having backyard chickens in 2018 to 13% in 2020. Again, the reason that number jumps so high is because things at the store have gotten higher. Prices have gotten higher. Chickens are now the third most popular pet, according to a May 2024 article in Fortune magazine, counting 85 million chickens in households across the United States. Now, I don't think they're in households. They're probably in the yard outside the house. But yes, part of the household. I guess you could call it that. But I don't know anybody who keeps their chicken in the house. If you do, you might have a screw loose. And you probably have a mess to clean up. So you should probably get to that. As of September 4th, the petition posted by Rachel Fullen has 356 signatures towards a goal of 500. So that was just the other day. Fullen makes a case for chicken raising, which includes a cost-effective food source, natural pest control, and the mental health benefits for those soft-hearted people amongst our communities who just need something to cuddle up next to. And why not have that be a chicken? Moving over to Missouri, Missouri homeowners associations in Missouri can no longer ban backyard chickens. Yes, sorry, Karen. The HOA Karens have no power here.
Karen, you are so stupid.
Many homeowners associations don't let people raise chickens in their backyards. But a new Missouri law going into effect this month says HOAs must allow it. So sorry, Karen.
Karen, you are so stupid.
Nearly every day for the past 2 years, Sarah Kaldenberg's hens have laid half a dozen blue and green eggs in the backyard of her Kansas City home. A horticulturist by training, she has always enjoyed growing her own food in the garden. But like many people in recent years, Kaldenberg got chickens because she wanted to try a hobby that would provide for her family, including her young child, with a new source of a homegrown food. With the chickens and stuff, they're really cute when they're tiny, so it's kind of fun growing them and everything, said Kaldenberg, who helped create a local neighborhood group for backyard chickens on Facebook. However, not all Missouri homeowners can just decide to build a chicken coop and raise hens. Some municipalities don't allow it, while people who own a home or a house within a homeowners association are subject to Karen's rules and regulations.
Karen, you are so stupid.
But starting on August 28th, Missouri homeowners associations will no longer be allowed under state law to prohibit homeowners from owning chickens in their backyard, even if their covenants and restrictions have banned it outright.
Yeah, boy.
Under the new law, HOAs must allow households with at least 0.2 of an acre to own up to 6 chickens. They also cannot prohibit single chicken coops that can hold up to 6 chickens. The provision was passed by the Missouri General Assembly as part of a larger bill, HB 2062, during the previous legislative session that Governor Mike Parsons signed it last month. A driving force behind the provision was Representative Jim Murphy, a Republican who represents parts of St. Louis County and District 94. Karens all over St. Louis County are having a conniption fit today.
Karen, you are so stupid.
But there's HOA pushback. Some HOA groups have raised concerns with the provision. Last month, the Heartland chapter for the Community Associations Institute, that sounds really important, an organization composed of Karens and homeowners and condominium associations, called on Governor Parson to veto the bill, citing that it would infringe on a community's rights and regulations. Elia Ellis, an attorney and chair for the CAI Missouri Legislative Action Committee, said the group opposes the provision because it offers less. This is the attorney for Karens in Missouri everywhere. The provision because it offers less flexibility for individual communities. Oh yes, this is less flexibility because we want to limit people's ability to grow things, and therefore increase their flexibility by limiting their flexibility. This woman, she's an attorney when she's talking like that. It's not because we think that no community should have chickens, but it should be communities that want to have chickens or want to allow for chickens, Ellis said. And those communities that don't want to have those should be allowed to not have the most numerous bird on planet Earth. Ellis said there's potential for litigation over the specifics of the provision, and the group is working to push back. Whether we could convince legislatures in the future to reverse this and do something different, I don't know, Ellis said. It's an uphill climb in that regard. Oh, the poor Karens. So that's what's been in the news lately for backyard chickens. If you live in Missouri, you might want to call your representative and thank them for passing that bill. Thank them for pushing that through and allowing that freedom to progress. Because I really do see a shift here. As someone who's been looking at this and covering this now for the last few years, there has been a shift. And I think it's been led primarily because of rising cost, people realizing that our food supply chain is not as safe as we thought it might be, not as secure as we thought it might be. And they're looking to have ways to be able to make their own proteins and have some of these food items that might all of a sudden poof be gone one day, and then it's completely out of their control. So, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of people homestead, is we get into homesteading because we want to have access to these things and produce some of these things outside of the control of the system, so that I'm not reliant on you. The grocery store can go down tomorrow, but I don't do that much shopping at the grocery store. All my meat either comes from me or comes from people I know who raise meat. That's where it all comes from. So if the grocery store goes down tomorrow, I might be without, some of my favorite snack items, but I think I can live without that. I think I can live without some of the things that my garden doesn't produce, but I can produce a majority of the food that I need to live on my own. What do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Before you go, please hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. If you enjoy these updates, things like this, be sure to hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already, so you can get more notifications for things like this. It really does allow YouTube to know that people watch and enjoy my channel. And that's the only way people find me these days, because I'm pretty much shadow banned otherwise. All that to say, hey, listen, speaking of chickens, I just did a video over at patreon.com butchering some of our quail. A number of my patrons said, Zach, can you show us how your quail live? Can you show us how easy or hard it is to butcher a quail? I said, absolutely. I would love to do that, but I can't put the video on YouTube because they don't like some of those things that are more real in our world. And so I have to post it over at Patreon. So if you're interested, you can go to patreon.com, link in the description below. You can watch me butcher that quail. Or no, I didn't do it. Tim did it. I allowed him to show us the genius behind his quail butchering techniques. He really does it like within minutes. It's fantastic. And within minutes, he can put, 6 quail in the freezer, into freezer camp. So if you're interested in something like that, if you're interested in seeing how we raise our quail, where they grow up, how they are raised, all that is in the video. I think you'll get a kick out of it. And it kind of goes along with what we're talking about today. I love the quail. In that video, I actually give a recipe at the end. My kids love eating quail. So check it out just to get the recipe if you've never cooked quail before. In fact, I think you can go to most grocery stores and buy quail. It's in the freezer section. Usually it's in a box, and they're very expensive. So raising your own, I think they're like $15, $16. Maybe it's more now. $16 for 4 quail in a box. And the ones at the store are a lot smaller than the ones we raise here. I'm just telling you. But they're expensive. And they're really good eating. Really good eating. Also, patreon.com. I did a tincture over here the other day at Patreon. You can get that too. This is a black walnut tincture. It's been in the jar for a few days now. And I thought I'd just mention that again. If you want more information on making your own tinctures, I give you access to these books to all my patrons. They're full of color photos. Most of these things you can find growing in your backyard. And it doesn't tell you how to make a tincture. There's plenty of videos on that. And it's a simple process, actually. Anyone can do it. But what do you do with them afterwards? How do you use them? When do you use them? That's what these books do. If you bought these books on Amazon, you're going to pay over $1,000 for each of them. And the reason they're so expensive is because of the valuable information contained within. I give you access to these PDFs, downloads, for just joining my Patreon for $1 a month. Plus, you get access to all the butchering videos, like I just mentioned, and ham radio communications videos, and all kinds of other stuff that we talk about on Patreon. Go over there, get these books, download them. If you join at higher levels, I really appreciate it. But as little as $1 a month gets you in the door to access to all that, including these very, very expensive books. If you bought them on Amazon, it would break the bank. All right, guys. See you next time at the Homestead. Bye. In the spring of 2024, Saudi Arabia ended the long-held practice of requiring its oil to be sold in U.S. currency. And recently, governments around the world have been repatriating their physical gold from Western banks, opting instead to hold that gold within their own borders. China, meanwhile, continues to set records in terms of stockpiling its physical gold reserves, while at the same time dumping billions in U.S. treasuries. All these instances can otherwise be called indicators. Indications that the world is readying itself to participate in trade that does not involve the United States or the dollar. And at home, our banks are showing signs of a deflationary collapse, in which case the FDIC does not have a fraction of the funds on hand to ensure you can get your money should your bank fail. On the other hand, they keep telling us inflation is getting under control, but for some reason, the prices we pay day to day keep going up and products we pay for keep getting smaller. I've put a link in the description below this video that will allow you to start the process to convert money you may have already saved into precious metals that you yourself can hold. You hold it, you own it. Throughout history, precious metals have always been accepted for goods and services, even in the most chaotic of economies and war-torn countries, dating all the way back to when Alexander the Great ruled the known world. Guys, we're over $35 trillion in debt. If you're concerned, I don't blame you. ITM Trading has a well-documented history of helping people put their money into physical metals that you hold. Again, if you hold it, you own it. Hit that link below and see how ITM Trading can help you get the ball rolling towards financial sustainability. The consultation is free and there's no pressure. They will show you your options based on your concerns and goals you have for the future. By doing this, you're safeguarding wealth just like people have done successfully for literally thousands of years. You are now part of that history. Hey guys, did you know you can become a patron of an American Homestead? They get access to private videos, and we send them gifts from the Homestead that we make here on the Homestead. And we also enter our patrons into special giveaways that are only available to them. And before you go, please check out these other great videos. Go ahead, click. I'll wait.